With immediate effect, government is placing a ban on the export of grains, including maize, rice, soya bean, until the situation normalizes. This measure is essential to ensure the availability of goods on the domestic market.
So I want to assure you to the nation that the security agencies are immediately activating their network to ensure that the ban on cereals, which has been listed, are regularly enforced so that nobody will take even a single grain out.
Some will go hungry, some will starve, many may die.
Global food protectionism is now in full swing. Countries around the world are increasingly turning to export bans to secure their own food supplies. What started with India has quickly spread, with some major European Union food exporting countries like Hungary also halting the export of certain crops.
There is no rice in the stores, basically. After the ban, it was so crowded. Some stores, like there are people waiting for like 100, 200 people waiting in the line.
And it's not just Europe. In fact, Africa is joining in too. In Africa, countries like Ghana and Uganda have taken significant steps to restrict the export of grains and other agricultural produce. Ghana's government, for example, recently announced a ban on exporting key crops like maize, rice, and soya beans.
With immediate effect, government is placing a ban on the export of grains, including maize, rice, soya bean, until the situation normalizes.
This is Ghana's Minister of Food and Agriculture, Honorable Brian Achampong, addressing the nation, explaining the reason behind the sudden export ban. The decision comes as Ghana faces a potential food shortage driven by drought. The northern regions of Ghana, which are responsible for about 62% of the country's grain production, have been hit hard by a lack of rain over the past 2 months. This has raised serious concerns about a significant shortfall in grain availability.
A situational crisis on our hands. I come before you today on a critical issue affecting 8 regions of our country: the Northern, Upper East, Northeast, Savannah, Upper West, Bono East, and OT regions. Specifically, these regions had, up until last Wednesday, experienced dry spells that have led to the disruption of crop production. The lack of rain over the past 2 months has severely impacted the planting season in many of the farming areas. Of the 8 regions, the northern region is the worst, with the Upper East region being the least affected. Some of the notable communities affected in the Upper East region include Gaboliga, Teshi, Boya, and Angpaliga. With no rains for 2 months leading up to the planting season, crops that were sown in anticipation of the rains have been left struggling without sufficient moisture. And there are fears of low yields and potential crop failures. We are keenly monitoring the situation in the southern regions, which are also experiencing some rainfall disruptions, delaying the onset of the southern sector minor planting season. The livelihoods, investment, and incomes of over 980,000 farmers cultivating an estimated 1.8 million hectares are at risk. And the ripple effects on agricultural value chain actors, such as the farmhands, aggregators, processors, traders, transporters, and on food supply, could be felt across the entire country. We fully understand the immense pressure this situation places on farmers, value chain actors, and our food system. And I'm here to outline the steps we are taking to support farmers' livelihoods ensure the adequacy of food supply, as well as steps MOFA is taking to avoid a recurrence in the future. The Ghana Meteorological Agency, GMET, predicted intermittent dry spells during this year's cropping season. However, the dry spells in the 8 regions have been continuous, resulting in near drought conditions that have significantly disrupted production. The weather for July and August have been relatively dry and sunny. The pattern of rainfall has been unreliable, and the amount of rainfall recorded this season has been lower compared to that of last year. This situation prevented some farmers from preparing their farmlands for production, while those who were able to prepare their land could not sow due to the absence of moisture. The farmers who took advantage of the early rains in June have experienced severe water stress on their farms. Most of the crops, especially maize and groundnut, have reached their critical wilting points. Let me take you through the weather situation using 3 selected regions as case studies. The Upper West region. This graph on your screen illustrates a stark contrast in rainfall between 2023 and 2024 from June to mid-August. 2023 saw significantly higher rainfall with a pronounced peak in early August. In contrast, in 2024, experienced considerable lower rainfall throughout this period, indicating a potential drought or significantly higher drier conditions this year. This drastic decrease in rainfall could have severe implications for agriculture and water resources. You will see on the graph that in 2024, we received 575 millimeters of rainfall as compared to 982 millimeters of rainfall in 2023. In the Bono East region, Abiasi is located in the Prang district in Bono East. The graph shows a comparison that in this particular area, from July 10th to August 12th, the area received 0 rain. 0 rain. And thus, in Abiasi, in the Prang district, from the period July 1st to August 12th, they received 351 millimeters of rain as against 937 same period last year. The weather condition in the northern region. The northern region experienced low rainfall this year as compared to last year, as shown on the graph. Finally, the crop and pastoral impact due to the prolonged dry spell. On the screen, you will see a shift from green to brown and yellow hues in 2024, which is the first image on the screen. It indicates a decreased vegetation health, suggesting plants are under stress from lack of moisture. The extensive brown and yellow areas highlight the widespread impact of the dry spell in the region. The image is from 2022, which is at the bottom of Upper West, Upper East, and the same on top, showing the severe stress and a lack of moisture. The final image is data from Ignitia, which is the next image. This data from Ignitia from 13th to 20th August, 7 days, shows rainfall experienced in the whole country and the sub-region. The dark red means greater than 100 millimeters, yellow 30 millimeters, and green 10 millimeters. The oval marking indicates areas where almost no rainfall has been observed, indicative also of the past month. The affected regions contribute about 62% of the country's grain. The affected region, 62% of the country's grain supply. till December and maybe January, February of the following year, which coincides with the minor season of the southern sector, these regions contribute about 85% of our grain supply. So that whole 12 months contribute 62, southern sector, major and minor production. The northern zone, they have only one cropping season, and that is their major season. And that harvest comes in from about 20th of September. So from that September to December, they contribute about 85% of our national grain supply. But if you put all together in a year, they contribute 62% of our grain supply. Given the projected crop failure, without any interventions, this could lead to nationwide food shortage and its resultant implications. In response to the phenomenon, state actions to address the situation. In the medium to long term, government expects the sector to develop resilience to these climatic conditions as it rolls out more irrigation and water management schemes. The immediate interventions from now to January 2025. The following measures have been approved by government for implementation by the ministry to avert a food security crisis. With immediate effect, government is placing a ban on the export of grains, including maize, rice, soya bean, until the situation normalizes. This measure is essential to ensure the availability of on the domestic market. Any farmer with stock and interested in selling should contact our district directorates across the country, our district aggregators, or the Directorate of Crops.
To support farmers affected by the ban, the government is stepping in with financial assistance. The Minister of Finance, Honorable Mohammed Amin Adam, announced plans to raise $500 million, including around $155 million from the World Bank and other partners. These funds will be used to compensate farmers with payments of 1,000 Ghana cedis per hectare.
And so, as the Honorable Minister for Food and Agriculture said, we are seeking to raise about $500 million US, the equivalent of 8 billion Ghana cedis, to fund the crisis response program. This is so much money, but we are doing this also at a time when our buffers are almost depleted. We are entering the 8th month or the 9th month of our fiscal year. The budget has been implemented so far for about 8 to 9 months. And you should expect that most of us are not there any longer. So this is a difficulty, but we have to raise the funds. As a responsible government, as a sensitive government as we are, His Excellency the President has directed that we do everything within our power to find the money to fund the government response. So far, from the budget side, we have been able to secure up to $160 million. That's about 2.5 billion Ghana cedis. This is largely coming from the contingency fund, which our constitution established. And so we intend to trigger the processes for accessing the contingency fund. We are also doing what we call budgetary alignment to reallocate some funds that were originally meant for other purposes towards addressing the crisis. And so together, 2.5 billion Ghana cedis being mobilized from the budget side. We also rely on our development partners, and we've had serious engagements with partners over the past 1 week or so. And within this short period, we can report that we are able to secure 155 million US dollars. That is about 2.4 billion, almost 2.5 billion Ghana cedis. And so out of the 8 billion Ghana cedis we are seeking to mobilize, we can say that we have visibility on about 5 billion Ghana cedis that we want to use, and use it quickly to respond to this crisis.
In fact, the security agencies in the country have also assured to make sure no food leaves the country's borders.
So I want to assure you to the nation that the security agencies are immediately activating their network to ensure that the ban on cereals, which has been listed, are regularly enforced so that nobody will take even a single grain out. We have the approved routes and the unapproved routes. About 80% to 90% of all exports pass through the approved routes. So I just want to assure you that already we have a lot of security personnel. From today, we'll ensure that no truck loads of grains will leave Ghana across to anywhere.
But Ghana and Uganda are not alone. Countries around the world are increasingly adopting similar measures. Hungary, for instance, have already halted the export of certain crops, and more nations are likely to follow suit. These bans are being driven by a combination of factors, including climate change and geographical tensions. Whilst these export bans are intended to protect domestic food supplies, they also come with significant economic implications. For countries like Ghana, which rely heavily on agricultural exports, these measures could lead to reduced income for farmers and lost revenue for the nation. However, the government urges that ensuring food security is the top priority, especially in times of crisis. This is a story that is still unfolding, with implications that could affect us all. So stay tuned for more updates on global food protectionism and its impact on both local and the international market. So that is all for today's episode. Please let us know your thoughts and suggestions on this in the comment section below. My name is Sheriff Haruna. Have a joyful life and see you in our next video. Macrao.